Hello there, today we're gonna be doing Krita, yeah. So Krita's a sort of animation software. It has like a plugin for it. But anyway, I'm gonna be teaching you, yes you, aspiring or possibly way cooler than me, animator, how to use Krita, yeah. So we're gonna start with the basics. Step 1. Go to krita.org/en. Then click on Get Krita Now. Then, if you're cool and own Windows like me, click on Windows Installer 64-bit or any bit. And if you're not, click Mac OS X. Yep. Then, after installing it, run the setup like installing any software. Okay, now to get to the actual stuff. Alright, so when you first open up Krita, you'll get something like this. Now, isn't this just amazing? So to start off, we're going to click on New File. And I set my width and height to be 2080 by 720. And that's just because it looks nice on YouTube render. And then we're going to click Create. Wow. Now we're going to be adding some Dockers for animation. And as you can see, we're missing some of the stuff I had last time. And that's because we're going to add it this time. So we're going to click on Settings, Dockers, and then we're going to add the animation panel. I have mine right here underneath the same bar as the toolbar. Next, we're going to add our timeline. So you go to Settings, Dockers, you click on the timeline button. Ta-da! I have mine down here because it's the largest part of the page, and it can expand, and we can insert it easily, and it's really out of the way of the main workspace, and that's kind of a bonus. Now the final step of any good animation setup is onion skins. So we're going to go to Settings, Dockers, and then we're going to click on onion skins. I have mine under this bar right here, along with layers, tool options, and onion skins right here. Now we have the animation toolbar, our timeline, and some delicious onion skins. Say any of these Dockers ever come out, you can just double click on them to reinsert them into their previous spot. Now we're going to quickly go over how to use each and every one of these lovely tools and Dockers that we just added to our workspace. So first, we're going to go over the animation Docker, which is used to create and delete frames. Say you want to make a frame on this layer number 2. You click on where you want it. I'm going to have it starting at frame 0. Then we click on this button right here, which adds a blank frame. There we go, we got a frame. Now whenever we draw something on it, it'll automatically be there, and it'll fill in a space for the rest of as long as we have our timeline going with that frame, unless we delete it. You can do that by pressing delete on your computer, and if you want to get rid of this whole sequence, you can press this button right there. So the timeline Docker in Krita is used for telling you where your frames are on 0 to 100, which is how long our frames stretch out for, and you can change that by editing this number right here. Wow, look, it goes to 200 now. Isn't that spectacular? Now, what we're going to do is we are going to make something on frame 1, and then we can make a different thing on frame 11. So you see this right here? This change between here is a change between frames. This line means that whatever happened on the solid frame, this one, beforehand, carries on until you have another solid frame, and then it transitions over to that. Using the timeline, you can also change the position of frames by clicking on it and dragging it. Ta-da! Now we have an the circle, and then the L. And then we can switch it back and forth, and it'll continue until the next solid frame occurs. Now, say you want to know what the previous frame was, that way you can draw over it like you do in animation. Well, that's why we have this tool, this spectacular onion skin tool. Now, you see right here, these little dots represent the opacity of the previous and future frames, and those frames will appear in the background once you click on the little light bulb right here. So you can see that the previous frame, let's draw one more. Alright, so the previous frame for the circle right here was the L, and we know that because of the onion skin pattern. It says, so we can change our previous frame color and our future frame color by clicking on this and, choosing from millions of colors right here. I can't count. And you can choose next frames just the same way. I have mine is red and green, not because it's Christmas time. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. We shouldn't even be talking about Christmas. But because that's how it is. That's how I did it. Anyway, we have the previous frame like this, and the future frame. You can also see it reoccurring right here, this line, and it happens all the way until you click on the frame, because that way you can change it, using animation. And that right there is onion skins in Krita. See, so we start out with this one. The previous frame is the circle thing, which is green, but not actually. And then the future frame was the circle thing. And then the previous frame right here is the L, and then the future frame is this line. And when we click on the line, the previous frame is the circle, and the frame before that even was the L, and it's a bit lighter. That way you can get a contrast between the previous frames and their different levels, which one came first. So that's how you animate in Krita. Yep, this is the best animation to ever. Yeah. Whoa. Wow. Yep. So now that we've talked about the multitude of things that there are with animation in Krita, we're gonna go over some of the other things. So let's just get rid of all of this. So this is your canvas. You can draw on it. Okay. Okay, now that my brain works again, we're gonna go over the other thing. So there's layers. These layers determine which layer you're drawing on. So if you're on layer 2, you can't draw on layer 1, obviously. And if you're on layer 2, you can't edit anything of layer 1. We can't erase it or anything. But if we go back to layer 1, well, we can do stuff to it. We can erase it. But that also, don't mess with layer 1. Layer 1 in the background has this really weird black and white thing that I don't know why it's there. Maybe because, I don't know. Let's forget. Now that I've fixed layer 1, let's go back to the main thing, that you never draw on layer 1. If you draw on layer 1, you might as well just have lost all your work. If you draw on layer 2 though, let's change it to a color other than white. Let's do green. Ta-da! You can do this, and then when you erase it, it doesn't make weird things in the background if we have the opacity at full. See? Look, it's gone. It's gone forever. No, but once we have all of this stuff erased, since we have animation on, we can delete the different frames if we don't want them. And if you have one thing on one layer and another thing on another layer and the third layer, so I'm drawing on the third layer. So the third layer will overlap the second layer because there's order. Layer 1 is above layer 2 because layer 2 sucks and layer 3 is superior. There's also this really cool thing you can do with layers when you're not animating called a group layer, where you put all of these into a group layer and you can expand and expand and what's the word? De-expand? I don't know. If we select layer 4 and then we go over to tools and we use the transform tool, we can move it around as a whole. The only problem is you can't animate with this layer, so I recommend this mostly for organization. If you're playing to animate with it, it doesn't work because that's how Krita goes. Now, also something which might be helpful is the layers can move on top of each other. The names dictate where the layers go. See, if I move layer 2 on top of layer 3 now sucks and layer 2 is superior. Oh, that's just not how it's supposed to be. We can, if we move layer 3 on top of layer 2, the black is on top of the green. If we do it the other way, the green is on top of the black. Wow, this is a bespectacling spectacle. It's pretty mad. You can also change whether or not the onion skin is on or off over here. Layer 3 isn't an animation layer, so we can't change whether the onion skin is on or off. But also, another cool thing, you can rename the layers for other purposes. Let's call this, there we go. Now, ta-da! We have the superior layer and the peasant layer. We got all the layers sorted out and all that stuff is gone about. And we're done with that. Ta-da! Look, we deleted everything, so now there's just a layer 1, and layer 1 is indeed this white spot, this blank expanse of death and gloom. But now that we're done bullying, let's make layer 2 or layer 5, sure. And ta-da! We do have layer 5. Krita's glitching out. Let's give me a second. We've officially fixed Krita. Now also we're gonna go over the toolbox. I mean, just look at all of these tools. There's 1, 2, 3. I think I counted wrong. 1, 9, 10, 11, 23, 24, 25, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34. 34 tools. It isn't that great. No, we're gonna go over the 3 basic ones that are pretty cool, because a lot of them are just duplicates of the other ones with different, variations. So the first one is the layer select tool. If we draw something on this layer using this paint, we have that, right? Then we click on the layer tool and we can move it around. Oh, my neighbor's mowing the lawn. Lovely. So we can move it around, we can stretch it, we can reflect it. Wow. We can expand it in such a way that the ratio between parts remains the same. And we can make it super small, but just keep in mind that Krita is bitmap, not vector like Adobe Animate or anything, because Krita is free. So if you do too much manipulation, the pixels, the image, you start to notice that it is pixelized indeed. And there are a couple other main tools. This one right here is the circle tool. You can make circles, and if you want to make them perfect circle, you can just press shift and then move it in and out, and there we go. We can do the same thing with squares. We're gonna make squares. Look at the square, a square and another square, another square. That's a real work of art right there. Just look at it. It's modern art. I could probably sell this on eBay. Now that we have all of these tools sorted out, we're gonna make another layer using this plus button. Well, we made 2 because I clicked so fast. And we're gonna do this. We're gonna select it. If it's on a different layer, you can only select what's on the layer using these selection tools. This is a rectangular selection tool. This is a circular selection tool. This is a polygonal selection tool. This is a outline selection tool, and those are really the most important ones. You also have your classic tools. My voice is dying. Hydration time. Now that I think we've gone through mostly everything that'll be important, I'm gonna just run through some. So I have 2 Shy Guys here. They're both really buff. One of them is wearing pants and the other one's wearing a loincloth, like Shy the Guy actually is. And they're both are missing shoes, unless you count their pants as their shoes. This is what I drew, and this is a really good representation of how layers can benefit you. Now, say you have a layer right here, and say you have this layer, and you don't want it to mess around with anything else, and you want to, use it in previous frames so you can move it around and do stuff like that. So you have that layer, and you don't want it to be messed up by other layers, like this guy, like part of Shy's jacket, or his arms. This is a good because you can copy layers and then paste them right next to each other. That's what I did. I literally copied it. Wait for it to render. See, I copied this right here, and then I moved it back over here. Except I flipped it using the transform tool, and I did this. That way it's the exact same. Ta-da! Mostly. Whoa, look, it's the exact same. And that way we don't have to redraw it, and it looks even cooler, because they're the same. Ta-da! I also did that mostly with Shy's entire body. I erased this part, copy and pasted that, because I had it in a group layer. So I have Shy the Guy 1 and Shy the Guy 2. I copied and pasted these layers using this tool right here, and I pasted it over here. And then I just redrew the legs. And yeah, this right here is a really good example of how layers can benefit you a lot, and I personally recommend them. And just remember, never draw on layer 1. Not gonna lie, that was probably the stupidest video I've ever done. And now I have a lot of editing cut out for me. I had 24 different voice parts that I have to edit, mix together, and do stuff with. So that'll be fun. Sorry I haven't uploaded in forever. School kind of got to me for a bit, and I also took a cool trip just off the coast of California for a school project thingamabob. yeah, that was really fun, and the animated video will be coming out soon with Lemlime and Bradius. Those guys, go check them out. Their channels are in the description. Also, this Thanksgiving break, which is like in a couple of days, I'll be doing some live streams and just hanging out my Discord server a lot more. So if you would like to come talk to me or play Minecraft with me, that'd be nice. And I'm lonely sometimes, and I'll be there. So thanks. Bye. Subscribe, please.